everyone. We're sitting down with our guest Rachel today to talk about her journey to transformation and just how resilient she is. Let's begin, Rachel, with just discussing, first of all, thank you so much for being here. And let's talk a little bit about what your life was like prior to Skyterra.
So I first came to Skyterra about 5 months ago. And before that, when I first came, my focus was really just on weight loss. So I had struggled for many years going up and down with weight. And I had tried a bunch of different things. Most of them were very restrictive diets, and I focused mostly on the diet piece and not any other piece. And I didn't really realize the importance of the other pieces until I came to Skyterra. So I had tried diets anywhere from injecting myself with something to very restrictive, just very minimal food. And it would work, but I'd lose a bunch of weight and then I would gain it right back as soon as I stopped. And I kind of had just gotten into this pattern of losing and gaining and losing and gaining and no long-term success. And I think the other piece of it too is that it really wasn't driven from me. It was driven from a lot of other people around me. So everyone was doing it with love and caring, and really they saw me needing to get healthier, as they said, and they thought giving me suggestions and different things to do was the right way to do it. And I listened to it because I am that type of person, and I felt like, okay, if they're telling me it, I should try it. But I never truly was doing it for myself. And I would say the moment that a few months before I came here for the first time, I had been traveling at Disney with my dear friend and her family, and went to go on a roller coaster, and I was going to have to get off the roller coaster because they needed to put me in a different seat. And I was in the front row with her two little girls, and they both looked at me. And so I got up and I was like, nope, you just go. I was embarrassed and didn't want to continue. So I let them go, and they looked at me, they're like, Rachel, why do you have to get up? And I just didn't really have words on what to say to them. And I went back down. They went on the roller coaster, and I just kind of got very emotional. And that was the moment where I realized that I needed to do it for myself. And that same friend had seen me go through many different diets, and she looked at me and would say, like, who are you doing this for? And I always said I was doing it for myself, but I wasn't. I really was doing it for other people. So after that trip, I decided that I needed to do something for myself. And I didn't quite know at that point. I really still was in this idea of it's just about weight loss, and it's just about, working out and eating minimal food. And I knew I needed to do something different, but I didn't quite know what it was. So I started looking, and it took me a few months to find Skyterra. And ever since then, it's changed, and it's changed on how I think about things. And I really have lost that diet mentality, and I really am doing this for myself. And what I've realized that it's about nourishing yourself and giving myself what I need to be able to feel better. So while I was here, I really started thinking about like how I feel. So I realized there are many days when I was so tired before that I would just get home and I wasn't giving myself like the food that I needed, and I wasn't giving myself the energy that I needed because I was just so tired and I didn't want to do anything, and I felt like it took more effort. So I really started realizing that there were so many different pieces of my life that I needed to change too, and it wasn't just about the weight. So that's really the journey that brought me here, and then kind of how I changed.
Yeah, amazing. So talk to me a little bit about how or what you learned at Skyterra. If you were to give advice to somebody who's listening to us today, what would that advice look like?
Yeah, so for me, it was really looking at all the different pieces of my life. So the big pieces were like stress. So I work a very stressful job. So for me, it was really figuring out how I can work this into my lifestyle that was very doable. So I think the biggest thing is dropping that diet mentality and really thinking about how can you give yourself energy and, just put in food that makes you feel good. So I don't restrict now. The big thing that I've done for myself is figuring out how to meal plan and figuring out how to prepare my food ahead of time, because that's what I need. But if I want something, I'm going to have it. And I think that was the biggest thing before, is when I would focus on, losing weight, I would cut out so many different things. And I am like eating in smaller portions than I was before with that food, but I'm not restricting myself from anything. So if I want something, I'm going to have it. And another piece that I had before, which is so important to understand in terms of fitness, is that I had this idea before that you had to work out. And for me, I do a quick workout in the morning and I go on my way to work. And that's, I'm active in my job and I'm active in the rest of my life, but it's really just about being active and not doing anything crazy. So I think that's the biggest piece, is listening to yourself and listening to your body and not having to do anything insane and crazy, just making simple changes. I've also added in breathing into my day, which I wasn't doing before. And before I came here, I didn't realize how important it was to add in that breathing and to kind of have that way to de-stress and to start and end my day. And those are pieces that were missing before. So it's really that idea of like, not that you don't have to do anything drastic. So I've made minimal changes to my day and have seen great results, and I feel better. And I think that's also really important for anyone to kind of, understand, is that you need to listen to yourself. And if you're feeling better, that's important. And it doesn't matter how much weight you're losing or what you're doing. It's really how you feel.
Yeah, and setting intention behind the behavior is what it sounds like too. You've taken the time to slow down and actually connect with yourself, where you were maybe prior to coming to Skyterra and changing your life, disconnected in a way from your body and your mind. So that's a powerful piece of just saying, I'm going to intentionally, move my body. It doesn't have to be for an hour. It can be quick for 20 minutes, 12 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it may be, with the intention of, this is what makes me feel good, versus this is to just get results, right? So connecting with that can be so powerful in essence of remaining sustainable.
Yeah. And another piece is like finding enjoyment in what you're doing. So before, like eating healthy and working out and all the other pieces were tasks. Now it was a chore, and now it's just part of my routine, and it's something that I enjoy doing. And, starting with a workout in the morning, I feel better, I feel more energized, and I'm ready to start my day. And giving myself the food that I need to make, sustain my energy throughout the day. I work long 10-hour days, and being able to give myself, food where I feel good and I'm not feeling tired and dragging and like, oh, I don't want to go home and I don't want to finish my night. And, it feels better. And that's the whole idea behind it too, is, having fun with what you're doing so that it doesn't become a task and a chore.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoyment is huge. Intention and enjoyment.
Yeah.
So Rachel, tell us, how did you do this? How did you do it?
While I was at Skyterra the first time, I really just started, listening to all the tools that I was given. And when I went back home, I really set myself up for 2 goals. So my first goal was to incorporate a very small fitness routine. And I really just started, I wanted to do it 2 to 3 days a week. And then my second was to really transform my food and how I was eating. So my first goal for that was really to start meal prepping, because for me, that made the most sense for my life. And I had used all the tools I had gotten from all the different staff while I was here to really start building my plan. So I started really small. I started doing a very small workout in the morning. So I incorporated the quick fits that I had been doing every day. And I think, it came natural because I had been here for 2 weeks and I had been doing all of these things while I was here. So the workouts kind of I just kept doing what I had been doing and just using the tools I had been given. And I just took those workouts home and started doing them. In terms of food, I really started making sure that I was getting enough protein. I was getting all the fats and the carbs and all the things that I needed in my diet. And meal prepping worked for me because everything was ready. What I was doing before is I wouldn't have food prepared and I would come home and I would pick things that I wanted because I was so stressed, and it was those feel-good foods. And so now I have everything ready for me. So it's all, I can just grab what I need and it's set. And I think that really speaks to setting myself up for success. So figuring out what I need to work for me. And for everyone, it might be different. And that's what's so great about Skyterra is that I really was able to, it can be individualized and you really can figure out what works for you. So everything that I need might be what someone else needs, but it might not be. And it's really figuring out what works for you.
So Rachel, what advice would you give to someone else?
The first step is just coming to Skyterra and getting the tools and learning from all the different staff here and, figuring out what you need. And then secondly, individualizing it to your life. So before you go home, figuring out a plan for what you're going to do when you go home. And that's really what I did. Before I left, I knew what I wanted to do and I knew what my plan was going to be. And I think another piece too is to not beat yourself up if you have days that don't go as well. So I'm not going to say every day at home I've been following everything perfectly. There's been days where I haven't done as well. And it's really that idea of keep going and not giving up. So it might be a really hard journey, but once you made the decision to come here, that's one of the hardest pieces is coming here and, getting the tools that you need to continue and bring everything into your life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So well put. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your journey with us.